The storm and the stranger. The wind screamed like a living thing. Waves rose and fell like dark mountains, their white tips breaking into angry foam. Ethan's small fishing boat groaned under the weight of the storm. Rain hit his face like needles, blinding his eyes, but he kept one hand tight on the steering wheel. The other hand held the side of the boat, knuckles white. Ethan was no stranger to bad weather. He had spent years at sea, hauling nets and battling waves. But tonight was different. This storm felt wrong. The air was heavy, thick with an energy that made the hair on his arms stand. Somewhere deep inside, he felt the same kind of fear. A deer might feel when a predator hides in the shadows. Lightning split the sky, turning the black ocean silver for one heartbeat. In that flash, he saw something, a shape, far from the boat. At first, he thought it was driftwood, but then it moved. Something was in the water. Ethan narrowed his eyes. The waves tossed it up for a moment, and he caught another glimpse. A head, maybe. No, it looked like an animal. A dog? No, bigger. Its fur shone faintly, even in the storm. For a second, he thought his mind was playing tricks on him. Fur didn't glow. Not in the real world. He should have ignored it. The storm was too dangerous. One wrong move, and his boat would be nothing but splinters on the waves. But Ethan was not the kind of man to leave a creature to die. He turned the wheel. The boat tilted dangerously, but he didn't care. The glowing shape bobbed up again, weaker this time. Hold on. He shouted, though he knew the wind would steal his words. Ethan grabbed the rescue pole and leaned over the side. The cold spray hit his face, and the water below looked like a swirling pit ready to swallow him whole. The creature vanished under. The surface. No, no, no. He muttered, scanning the black waves. Then, a flash of silver. It burst from the water, thrashing weakly. Without thinking, Ethan dove in. The cold was like knives. His lungs screamed in shock, but he forced his arms to move, kicking hard. His eyes locked on the glowing fur ahead. When his hand finally closed around it, he felt something strange. Not just wet fur, but a vibration, a faint hum, as if he was holding a living machine. He kicked back toward the boat, fighting the pull of the waves. His chest burned for air, but he refused to let go. Inch by inch, he pulled them both toward safety. At last, he reached the side of the boat. With a desperate heave, he pushed the creature up and scrambled in after it. Both of them collapsed on the deck, gasping. For a moment, all Ethan could hear was the storm and the pounding of his heart. Then he looked at what he had saved. It was like no animal he had ever seen. Yes, it had the shape of a wolf. Powerful legs, sharp muzzle, thick fur. But its coat shimmered silver, almost like it was made of tiny lights under the skin. Its eyes, those eyes were not natural. They were deep gold, and they seemed to focus on him with a strange intelligence. The creature coughed, water spilling from its mouth. Then it made a sound, not a growl, not a bark, a word. Help. Ethan froze. His mind told him he was imagining. Animals didn't talk. Not here, not anywhere. But the creature's gaze didn't waver. It repeated the word. This time the sound was softer, almost breaking. Help. Before Ethan could speak, the wolf's ears twitched. It looked toward the sky, its golden eyes narrowing. Ethan followed its gaze. The clouds above shifted, a strange red glow bleeding through the black. The glow grew brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. A deep rumble rolled through the air, but it wasn't thunder. It was too steady, too mechanical. Ethan's gut tightened. He had heard engines before, fishing boats, cargo ships, even military planes. But this was different. The creature's fur began to glow brighter, and that same faint hum pulsed against his skin where he had touched it. It turned its head toward him, urgency in its eyes. They are coming. The voice was clear now, strange but sharp, echoing slightly, as if coming from somewhere far away. Ethan's pulse pounded in his ears. "Who's coming?" he asked. Dot the wolf didn't answer. Instead, it staggered to its feet, looking toward the horizon. Lightning cracked the sky again, and for one terrifying moment, Ethan saw dark shapes descending through the storm. They were not planes. They were not anything human, Dot, and they were heading straight for him. Asterisk, the wolf that wasn't. Shapes in the clouds grew larger, their outlines sharp against the flashes of lightning. They moved without sound, yet each one seemed to carry the weight of something ancient and dangerous. Ethan's first instinct was to start the engine and get out fast. But the silver-furred creature stepped forward, blocking him. Its eyes locked on his, the golden light inside them burning brighter than before. "Do not move the boat," it said. Ethan blinked. "You're talking." "I've always talked," it replied, calm but urgent. "You've only just started listening." For a moment, Ethan forgot the storm, forgot the strange ships above. He was staring at something that looked like a wolf, but carried itself like something higher. The glow under its fur was stronger now, almost pulsing with a rhythm. Like a second heartbeat, the creature tilted its head slightly, as if listening to something Ethan couldn't hear. Then its gaze snapped back to him. "They can smell fear," it said. "What are you talking about?" Ethan demanded. "Stay still. If they think we are dead, they might pass." Above, the first black triangle broke through the clouds. It was enormous, big enough to block the lightning for a moment. Its surface was smooth, darker than the night itself, but crisscrossed with faint red lines that crawled like veins. From its underside, a single beam of red light poured down. It didn't shine like normal light. It moved, searching, sliding over the waves like a predator's eye. Ethan's mouth went dry. He stayed perfectly still, forcing himself to match the creature's unblinking gaze. The beam swept closer, closer, until it slid over his boat. The deck glowed faintly under the red scan. Ethan felt warmth creep over his skin, almost like sunlight, but sharper, invasive, like it was peeling back layers. He clenched his jaw and prayed the thing wouldn't see his heart pounding in his chest. The wolf, no. The being lowered its head slightly, its glow dimming. The beam paused. For 3 long seconds, it hovered on them, silent and still. Then, slowly, it moved on. The ship drifted away, following its searching light across the sea. Ethan exhaled, his breath shaking. What are those?" "Harvesters," the being said. "They take what they want. Worlds, people, life." Ethan's stomach turned. "And they're looking for you?" The creature nodded once. "I am the last navigator. They want the map inside my mind." Ethan frowned. "Map to what?" "To the beacon." Lightning flashed again, but this time it wasn't just the storm. Another black triangle was lower now, almost skimming the water. The beam swung back toward them. The creature's head chirped up. "They've found us." Ethan lunged for the engine, yanking it to life. The boat roared forward, cutting through the waves. Behind them, the ship's beam hit the water, turning it into boiling steam. "Hold on," Ethan shouted. The creature braced itself, claws digging into the wooden deck. The hum from its body grew louder, and the light in its fur began to form strange patterns, like constellations in motion. Ethan caught sight of them and nearly lost focus. They weren't random. They were shifting, aligning, like a star map, being drawn right on the creature's skin. "What is that?" "The way home," it said. "If we reach the beacon before they do, your world might survive." "Might?" Ethan barked, steering hard to avoid a surge of water from behind. The wolf's golden eyes fixed on him. if you live long enough to help me. Behind them, the ship gave chase, its silent bulk cutting through the storm as if the wind and rain didn't exist. Ethan pushed the engine harder, but he knew deep down he wasn't outrunning whatever that was. Then, without warning, the creature leapt to the bow of the boat. The glow in its fur flared so bright it lit the ocean for miles. Ethan shielded his eyes. From the wolf's chest, a single beam of white light burst upward, tearing through the clouds. The black ships reacted instantly, breaking formation and spreading out. "What did you just do?" Ethan yelled. "I told them I'm not afraid," the creature said. "And now they'll try harder." Ethan didn't like the way it said. Harder. Asterisk. The sky burns Ethan's vision, cleared just in time to see the sky rip open. The storm clouds didn't just part. They peeled back, like something massive was forcing its way through from the other side. What replaced them wasn't daylight. It was red. A deep, molten glow that poured down onto the ocean, turning the waves into dark liquid fire. 3 black triangles emerged, gliding in eerie silence. Each one was the size of a city block, their edges so sharp they almost seemed to cut the sky itself. Along their undersides, the glowing red veins pulsed faster, in perfect rhythm with each other, like a single mind split into 3 bodies. A silver wolf stepped forward, fur bristling. "They know." Ethan gripped the wheel. "Know what?" "That I'm not dead." Before Ethan could react, the middle triangle rotated slowly, revealing something far worse, a circular opening in its underside. At first, it looked empty. Then a long needle-like structure slid out, humming with the same red glow as the veins. "What is that?" Ethan asked, though a part of him didn't want to know. "They call it the harpoon," the wolf said, its voice low. "It doesn't kill ships. It takes them." Ethan's stomach tightened. "Takes them where?" The wolf's golden eyes turned toward the horizon. "You don't want to see." The harpoon began to glow brighter. The water below it bubbled, as if boiling from the inside out. Then, with a sudden snap, a bolt of red energy shot down, hitting the surface. The sea didn't just explode. It vanished in a perfect circle, leaving behind a black, bottomless pit that swallowed everything in its radius. Ethan's mouth went dry. If that beam touched his boat, there wouldn't even be wood chips left to float. "Move," the wolf said sharply. Ethan slammed the throttle forward. The boat lunged into the waves, the engine screaming as they cut across the churning sea. Behind them, the harpoon fired again, missing by only a few meters. A wall of displaced water crashed over the deck, nearly knocking Ethan to his knees. "They won't stop," the wolf warned. "Not until they have me." "Well, they're going to have to go through me first," Ethan shot back. The wolf's gaze lingered on him for a moment, unreadable. "Be careful with that promise. You might keep it." Before Ethan could respond, the triangle ships began to shift position, fanning out to cut off every possible escape route. Above, the red light in the clouds grew brighter still, and Ethan realized with a cold jolt. The storm wasn't natural at all. It was theirs. Asterisk, the chase. The ocean turned into a battlefield. Ethan's boat tore through the waves, engine screaming. But the black triangles didn't follow like normal pursuers. They glided, cutting across the water's surface without touching it, faster than anything human could build. Above, one ship pulled ahead, blocking the route toward the coast. Another shifted to the right, trapping them between 2 walls of red light scanning the sea. "They're hurting us," Ethan realized. "They don't need to chase," the wolf replied, its voice carrying that strange double echo. "They already know where we'll end up." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Not if I change the plan." He threw the wheel hard to the left, aiming the boat toward a jagged cluster of sea rocks jutting out of the water like broken teeth. The waves crashed violently against them, but Ethan hoped the sharp terrain would make the massive ships hesitate. Instead, one of the triangles simply tilted sideways and slid between the rocks like it was made of liquid shadow. That's impossible, Ethan breathed. They're not bound by your laws, the wolf said. And neither am I. Before Ethan could ask what that meant, the nearest ship unleashed something new. Not a beam, but a swarm. Thousands of black, needle-sized drones spilled from its underside, fanning out in the air like a cloud of angry insects. Each one glowed, faintly red at the tip, and the sound they made was not mechanical. It was a whine, high and almost alive, drilling straight into Ethan's skull. What are those? Ethan asked, already steering to avoid them. Hunters, the wolf said. They don't just track heat or sound. They follow what you fear most. Ethan swallowed hard. Then they'll find me in about 3 seconds. The swarm dove toward them, slicing through the rain. Ethan zigzagged the boat, but they were too fast. One clipped the stern, leaving a smoking scar in the wood. Another swept past his ear, the air hissing from its speed. Duck! The wolf barked. Ethan dropped flat as the wolf lunged forward, its fur flaring white-hot. The hum that Ethan had felt before turned into a vibration in the air, a sound that wasn't exactly heard but felt deep in the bones. The nearest drones froze mid-air, then dropped into the water. Dead. Ethan blinked. You can do that? The wolf's golden eyes didn't meet his. Not for long. Every time I use it, something else listens. What else? Before the wolf could answer, the clouds above shifted again, and something far larger than the triangles stirred behind them. Ethan caught only a glimpse through the breaks in the storm. An enormous shape with too many lights to count, each blinking in a slow, deliberate pattern. The wolf's ears went flat. The warden is awake. Ethan gripped the wheel tighter, his mind screaming that he was way out of his depth. And I'm guessing that's not a good thing? The wolf finally looked at him. No, that's the thing they send when they stop playing. Asterisk secrets on the shore. The coastline appeared through the rain like the shadow of a sleeping giant. Jagged cliffs loomed over a stretch of dark, rocky beach. Ethan's shoulders loosened at the sight of solid ground, but the wolf didn't slow. Don't stop moving, it warned. If we linger, they'll triangulate. Ethan pushed the boat hard toward a small, half-collapsed pier that looked abandoned for years. The waves slammed them against it, but he managed to tie up just enough for the wolf to leap ashore. The wind here was different, not just salty and cold, but heavy, like the air carried an echo. Ethan followed, boots crunching on wet gravel. All right, we made it. Now what? The wolf's golden eyes swept the cliffs, scanning with a precision that didn't feel animal at all. We need a high point. I must see the beacon. Ethan frowned. The what now? Before the wolf could answer, something clanged behind them. Ethan spun. A figure emerged from the shadows of the pier. A man in a yellow raincoat, his hood pulled low. Storm will kill you out there, the man said, voice raspy. You'll want shelter. Ethan glanced at the wolf, who stood rigid, its glow dimmed to almost nothing. We're fine, Ethan said. The man stepped closer. Water dripped from his coat, but his boots left no footprints in the sand. Not safe on the open shore. Follow me. Ethan's instincts screamed to refuse, but another rumble from the clouds above made him hesitate. The black triangles were still out there, somewhere. Maybe this guy knew a way inland. Reluctantly, Ethan followed. The man led them through a narrow path in the cliffs, the air growing colder with every step. It wasn't until they reached the entrance of an old lighthouse that Ethan noticed something strange. The storm's noise had stopped. No wind, no rain, just silence. Inside, the place smelled of rust and salt. The walls were covered in maps, not of oceans, but of stars. Lines. Connected constellations Ethan didn't recognize. Some were circled in red ink. A man stopped in front of a massive dust-covered telescope. "You bring it?" he asked without turning. Ethan blinked. "Bring what?" The man's voice shifted, becoming deeper, wrong. "The navigator." Ethan turned to the wolf, who was already backing away, fur flaring faintly. "You knew him?" Ethan demanded. "I didn't know he was this," the wolf said, low and tense. "He's a caller." Before Ethan could ask, the man in the raincoat dropped. The disguise. His skin rippled, peeling away like paper, revealing something thin, metallic, and insect-like underneath. Its face was nothing but a grid of tiny red lights, blinking in patterns that made Ethan's head ache to look at. "You've run far enough," the thing said. "Hand over the map in your mind." Ethan stepped between them without thinking. "You'll have to go through me." The creature tilted its head. "That can be arranged." Above them, a distant, lone, deep vibration rolled. Through the air, the sound of the warden drawing closer. The wolf's eyes burned brighter. "We have minutes," it told Ethan. "Decide, fight here or die here." Asterisk Betrayal the lighthouse shuddered as another low, inhuman vibration rolled through the air. Dust drifted from the ceiling and the telescopes. Lens trembled in its rusted frame. The metallic creature in the raincoat stepped forward, its segmented limbs moving in unsettlingly smooth motions. The red grid of lights where its face should be shifted patterns, not randomly, but like a code Ethan couldn't read. The wolf stayed tense, its glowing fur flickering. "We can't fight both him and the warden," it said. "We have to. Move now." Ethan grabbed the wolf's shoulder. "Move where?" "We're trapped in here." The creature let out a sound, half laugh, half static, and tapped one spindly finger against the telescope. "You brought him here, human. You did my work for me." Ethan's stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" "The wolves." Ears flattened. You told the fishermen about us?" Ethan shook his head violently. "No, I didn't." The metallic creature's voice cut through the denial. "He didn't have to. His boat's signal was active the whole time. Every turn, every hiding place, broadcast." The realization hit Ethan like a punch to the chest. His GPS, the one he'd left running out of habit, the one that had been pinging their location since the storm. "Oh no," Ethan whispered. "Oh, yes," the creature mocked. "The harvesters have been watching, and the warden is already on its way to this exact spot." The wolf's gaze turned cold. "You've doomed us both." Ethan stepped closer, voice cracking with urgency. "I didn't know." "Knowledge doesn't matter," the creature said, raising one blade-like arm. "Only outcomes." A sudden boom outside shook the lighthouse. The wall behind Ethan cracked, and through it he saw the impossible. A piece of the sky itself tearing open, revealing a darkness filled with distant, shifting lights. The warden's arrival. The wolf didn't wait. It lunged at the metallic creature, their collision sending sparks and shards of rusted metal flying. "Run!" it roared. Ethan didn't. He hesitated. Something about the wolf's voice wasn't right. It wasn't just telling him to escape. It was telling him to leave it behind, Dot. And then he realized why Dot the wolf wasn't just trying to escape the warden. It was trying to make sure Ethan never learned what the beacon really did. The metallic creature's red lights flared. The warden's shadow consumed the windows, and Ethan stood frozen between two predators, one that wanted him dead and one that might be lying about being his ally. The choice the lighthouse shook like it was caught in the fist of a giant. Glass shattered from the lantern room above, raining down in glittering shards. Outside, the warden's shadow spread over the shore, a vast shifting mass of black. plates and red eyes that burned like molten coals. Its presence pressed down on Ethan's chest, making it hard to breathe. He felt like an insect pinned under a magnifying glass. The metallic creature staggered back from the wolf, sparks spitting from deep gashes in its armored body. "The warden is here," it said, almost reverently. "All that lives will end." They. Wolf turned to Ethan, glowing fur flickering erratically. "We don't have time. You have to help me reach the beacon." Ethan's instincts screamed. "What does it do, really?" The wolf hesitated. For the first time since it met it, it looked uncertain. "It will summon help." "Help from where?" Ethan demanded. The wolf's golden eyes didn't waver. "From those who came before your kind." Something in the way it said it made Ethan's blood run cold. "And if they come, what happens to us?" The wolf's silence was louder than any answer. The warden moved closer, each step rattling the earth. Its voice was a chorus of grinding metal and something older, speaking in a language Ethan didn't understand, but somehow felt. The metallic creature stepped aside. "Decide, human. Surrender the navigator to the warden, and your death will be quick. Help it, and your species may not survive what arrives." Ethan's pulse roared in his ears. Two choices: give the wolf to the warden and possibly save Earth from an unknown rescue. Help the wolf activate the beacon and risk inviting something even worse. The wolf took a step toward him. "Ethan, trust me." Lightning split the sky, and for a split second, Ethan thought he saw something in the wolf's glow. Not just light, but shapes, towers, ships. A city that wasn't human. The warden's shadow loomed over them, claws reaching. Ethan made his choice. He lunged, but not at who they expected. Blinding flash consumed the lighthouse. When the light faded, the wolf was gone. So was the warden. The beach was empty, except for Ethan, standing alone, staring up at the sky where a new light now burned, bright, constant, and coming closer. The last thing Ethan heard was the wolf's voice in his head. "You just invited them."